So to get right to the point, I have been a heavy observable and RxJS user for years. I think declarative code is the closest thing we have to a silver bullet for good application architecture, and I think signals are great. What I think is weird and annoying about signals is just how good and useful they are, but how with the introduction of resource, they are blurring the lines of the previously nice delineation we had, where we could say signals are good for state, observables are good for events, or signals for synchronous stuff, observables for asynchronous stuff. That is not to say that resource is a bad thing. In fact, it is one of my favorite additions to Angular. But it is so powerful in a sense that it can take over many of the jobs of what previously would have been accomplished with observables. But it is still fundamentally flawed in that it is not intended to be a mechanism for dealing with event-based data flows in applications. But you can still mostly use it that way if you want to. An example is going to be a lot more useful than me yapping, so let's take a look at this. This is a somewhat complex event-based asynchronous data flow using what I consider to be my sort of standard approach to mostly declarative state in Angular. It's basically a simple Redux pattern implementation. We have sources, in this case an add source that is triggered when the user wants to add a photo. We have reducers that detect these actions, events, sources, and decide how the state should be updated as a result. In this case, that state is being set into a signal. This is not a simple example either. For example, our add source data is not just instantly created. We need to trigger a call to take a photo using the user's camera, which is asynchronous. And when that resolves, we need to take the result of that and write the photo to the file system, which is also an asynchronous call. And once all of that is done, we then update our state with the data. I've gone into much more depth on this approach in general and the declarative imperative trade-offs with this manual subscribe approach. So I'll link a few videos on that, but it's beside the point for this video. Let's just take it for granted that this is the general data flow we want. We have actions or sources that are triggered with data. We have reducers listening for those events, and we ultimately set our new state into a signal. The cool but also maybe dangerous thing is that we can actually achieve this flow purely with signals. We could replace our source and part of our reducer with this. Signals don't have the concept of a subject, and it wouldn't really make sense for it to because it's not trying to be an event management system. But we can achieve the same effect anyway. We can create a version signal that is just incremented by 1 every time we trigger an add. This causes the signal to change and anything that depends on it to update, just like it would with our subject. So we can use that signal in the params for our photo resource, and our photo resource is going to react every time that add notifier signal changes. And since our signal is initially undefined, the params here will return undefined and it won't run. That means the camera isn't just going to be instantly launched as soon as the application loads. But once we increment our add notifier to 1, it will trigger this photo resource. And every time we increment our add notifier after that, it will continue to re-trigger this photo resource, allowing us to take more photos. Then we feed the result of photo resource into write file resource, which handles making the asynchronous call to write the file. Now there's a flaw here that you might be able to spot, but we'll come back to that in a moment. The last step is to set up an effect that will update the state signal, which serves the same role as the subscribe from before. Now every time the write file resource resolves with a new value, it will trigger this effect and update the photo signal with the new value. We now have, in spirit at least, the exact same data flow as with the observables, just without the observables. And arguably, if you aren't already familiar with observables, and maybe even if you are, this code is even a bit nicer. But let's get back to that flaw. In the original observables-based code, we were using concatmap for the data flow. This means that if a new photo is triggered before the previous one has finished being processed, the pipeline will basically just wait for the first photo to be entirely processed and then proceed to the next one. RxJS has a whole range of different operators for handling these scenarios in any way you want. You don't get that level of control with the signals-based flow. With the signals approach, if the add source is triggered again before a previous request has finished, then the existing in-flight requests will just be cancelled and it will switch to the new request. This means we could get into scenarios where either a photo is lost entirely, Or perhaps the photo has been written to the file system, but we hadn't updated our state yet. So that is now out of sync and there is this sort of dangling photo left in the file system. There is a solution to this specific scenario, and that is basically don't get into that scenario. You would need to in some way prevent the user from triggering add again before it is ready. With the observables approach, we can handle the situation. With the signals approach, we can avoid the situation. It can work, but at least in my opinion, avoiding the situation is much more error prone, because it does sort of leave the door open for that add source to be triggered in some way you didn't expect. But I think it is also what a lot of applications are doing, especially outside of the Angular ecosystem. Most applications don't use RxJS, and most don't robustly handle these sorts of race conditions explicitly. So I want to leave you with some questions. Which approach do you think is more practical? And what would you recommend to new Angular developers who are not familiar with RxJS? It's one thing if you already know and are familiar with RxJS, but is it worth learning the intricacies of RxJS for the robustness it provides? Or will a pure signals approach be good enough for most situations? If you found this video useful, a like or subscribe before you go would be greatly appreciated, and I hope to see you again next time.